mean you are paying 300 for rent and utilities.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves.
Guys, why did nobody tell me about the long list of bills that you have to pay in the UK? You have to pay rent. Hold on, let me put the mic down. You have to pay rent, electricity, heating, water, TV license, council tax, Wi-Fi, phone bill. You have to pay for parking, insurance if you have a car. What bothers me the most is that council tax, you know. That is basically what I'm going to talk about in this video. The star of the show is accommodation, but we will get to that later. Let's chat in the comments. When I was moving to the UK, like, I was warned. I was told how expensive London is and not to move to London. Someone was saying move outside London, blah 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 blah. I didn't listen because I'm just like you. I'm very stubborn, okay? I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'll just give you the info and you can do whatever you want to do with it. First things first, no matter where you are, bills will eat your money. Obviously, utilities is not fixed, right? The lowest I've paid for electricity is £60 and the highest I've paid for electricity is £90. I work from home most of the time and then I also cook a lot, so the stove is electric, so it feeds into the electricity bill. The electricity bill fluctuates on a monthly basis. Now, heating. So during the winter time, you have to turn on your heating because you don't want to freeze to death in your own home. When you come fresh, you don't really know, right? So you will turn on your heating because it's cold. When you receive your heating bill, after that, when you turn on your heating, it will feel like you are at an auction site. I get 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. Nobody will ask you. You now you go and turn it off. But anyways, the highest I've paid for heating is 600. If you use it wisely or if you use it well, you can pay as low as £10. The heating companies, they are not here to play. And mind you, you can turn on the heating in the water automatically. So the heating that is connected to the water also feeds into the heating bill basically. So even though it's not winter time, you will still be getting heating bill. Please do not panic. It's the hot boiling water we'll be using. That's what's coming through as heating in the summer. Next thing on my list is TV license. Come here. You don't have to pay. When you have a TV and you're watching national television, you would have to pay TV license of about 160 a year, which is like £13 a month. But if you have, let's say, TV, but you're not watching national television, you're just streaming Netflix. Some streaming websites require TV license. It doesn't mean that if you don't have TV license, you cannot watch those things. You can watch your TV, but whilst you are watching the national television and blah blah blah, you would have to pay TV license, right? When I first came to the UK, he started getting letters from the TV license people that, hey,
we will come and inspect and we will charge you £1,000 if you don't pay.
Meanwhile, we didn't have a TV. We were all watching movies on our laptops. And we later on got a TV, but we were only like connecting it to our laptops to watch Netflix and stuff like that. So we wrote back to them, actually, you go on the website and then you declare you do not watch national television. They will stop sending you the letters and you'll be fine. The TV license is a very avoidable bill. So for water, you get your bill every 6 months. The last bill that I got was like £40. So water is not so expensive. Depending on the company you go with, Wi-Fi can be like £25 to £30 a month. The bills I've mentioned so far, no matter where you are, whether you're living in London or outside London, it's mostly like the same. We will soon get into the bills that makes the difference, but so far these bills are like the same across the UK. If you are living in London and you are using so and so amount of water, you get the same bill as someone who is using the same amount of water outside London. No matter where you live, you have to pay your phone bill, you have to pay your Wi-Fi, you have to pay electricity, you have to pay heating. It's the same amount that they use to do the calculation. In London, the cheapest form of transportation is the bus. Usually the buses take longer than the trains. Me personally, when I take the bus to wherever I'm going, for the day in and out, it's like £3.25. But then when I use the train to go to work, it's £8 depending on the time that you use. So if you're using the train during the peak period, which is in the morning when everybody is rushing to work, and then in the evening when everyone is rushing home. During those times, like, you pay £8.80 in and out, £4.40 per trip. But if it's not peak period, it's £7 per day. Let's say you are using the bus, like the bare minimum, you are using the bus, so you're spending £90 on transportation per month. If you are in the habit of using Ubers, taxis, and cabs back home, here Ubers, those things are the most expensive. The traffic in London doesn't make it any easier. If you are outside London, then why not? But in London, they're quite expensive. Some places outside London don't have access to regular trains and buses, so it's important to have cars. But in London, you don't really see the need to have a car unless it's become very, very necessary, or you live a bit further from central London, then you would have to, like, it becomes very necessary to get a car. When you have a car, you have to pay for parking and insurance, of course. I personally don't have a car, so I really don't know how much insurance costs, but I know that for parking, some places, even when you park to go and buy something at the supermarket, you would have to pay. For some apartments, you would have to pay for parking in addition to your rent. Like, imagine you have a car, you are paying for rent, and you are paying for parking space as well. It's not free. You will have to pay. It's the same thing outside London, not when you are renting and you have to pay for parking. If you park in front of shops, some shops you would have to pay for parking. That's the only difference, basically. If you don't know how to cook or you don't want to cook, you would have to, because if you are doing Uber Eats or you are ordering takeout every single day, that's going to cost you like £600 a month, and that's just based on you eating twice a day. That's a lot of money. For me, I do not do Uber Eats all the time. I cook a lot, like I said earlier. I do Uber Eats like 3-4 times a month. Groceries, every month we do like bulk purchase of groceries, and African foods are quite expensive in the UK depending on where you are shopping. But when we go to the actual markets, we can buy 2 tubers of yam for £5. But there's this African shop that is very close to us. Sometimes when we are short of something, we just pop in there quickly and buy something. 1 tuber of yam is £5, so depending on where you shop. But then at the end of the month, now that my husband is here, we spend like £200 on groceries, basically going to the African shop to buy groceries. But we also buy 1 or 2 things on the side. I would say in total it will be like £300 a month. When you buy soap or washing powder, stuff like that, it lasts you more than a month. So, and then toilet roll and stuff like that, it lasts you more than a month. But then I would say if it is just you, budget for 150 for groceries and other things per month. This thing called council tax. Now, I don't really have much information. Like, all I know is it includes coming for your baller. Like the rubbish that you make every Friday, they come for it. Like, they charge you for it. It includes that. But aside that, I don't know anything else that they use the money for. I might be wrong, or I beg, don't quote me anywhere. Council tax come in bands, okay, from band A to band F. Band A being the cheapest, and then band F being the most expensive. We are in band C, where I live. If you are a full-time student in the UK, you will get an exemption. And if you live alone, you get a 25% discount. I live in a band C building, like I said earlier, and it's a 1-bedroom apartment, and it goes for £223 per month. Per month though. I don't live alone, I live with my husband, so I don't have any discount. I know someone living outside of the UK. He lives in a 2-bedroom and it's a band A building, and he's paying £160 per month. The number of bedrooms that you live in also contributes to the amount of council tax that you pay. I feel like accommodation needs its own video because it involves a lot. They have different zones have different prices. When I make such video, I will link it up here or in the description box. But for now, I'll just touch the surface. London is separated into zones, okay? Zone 1 is like central London, and zone 1 rent is ridiculously expensive. I live in zone 3. It's zone 1 up to zone 5. We're currently paying 1,535 for a 1-bedroom apartment in zone 3. If it was zone 1, a 1-bedroom apartment would have been around 2,000, 2,500, depending on the building you are in. And even in zone 3, you could get cheaper rents, but it's not going to go any lower than 1,000. These are furnished apartments, by the way, and the difference between furnished apartments and unfinished apartments is not so much. Like, the difference in prices. So I remember when I was looking for a place, I was looking at non-furnished thinking that would be less, but non-furnished was like 1,300 and then furnished was like 1,500. So I was like, what's the point? Because non-furnished doesn't have anything. I had to buy the bed, the couch, everything, but furnished is furnished. I just move in with my things. I just went for furnished. So you can also take that into consideration when you're looking for your place. When I was first moving into the UK, I saw the prices of the rent in London and I was like, ain't no way. Like, if you are 2 and you are living in a 1-bed, then maybe you can share and pay. But just you paying 1,300 or 1,000, and this doesn't include bills. So like some places they will say bills included. This doesn't include bills. It's just the rent. So you paying 1,000 on top of bills, almost to that. Then what will you use to eat? Because some people earn 1,500 a month net. So if you pay your rent, and then what else will you be doing? So what I did was I moved in with a couple of my colleagues. So we got a 3-bedroom, which was 2,500 or 2,300 at the time, and then we shared the rent and paid. But at the time when I first moved into the UK, which was like 2 years ago, I was paying 900 for rent and then around 150 for bills. And then after a year, they decided to increase the rent to like 3K because of the cost of living crisis. The cost of living crisis is crazy. It's too much, especially in the rent industry. Because they increased the rent to 3K, we had to move out. So we moved out of the place and we dispersed. In London, rent will take a chunk of your salary. Imagine if you earn 2K a month and you are paying 1,000 worth of rent every month. You'll only be left with 1,000. And I mean, you can save like some £200 or something, but imagine you have to send money home, you have to do this, you have to do that. By the time you are done, you have nothing left. Sometimes people resort to living with flatmates just to try and save and reduce expenses. I got really good flatmates. Some people have very, very bad stories with flatmates, but I would say try and experience it before you also come out with your own conclusions, because it's not everyone that gets a bad flatmate. You understand? Compared to outside London, the friend of mine that is living in the 2-bedroom apartment is paying 800 for a 2-bed, and it's also furnished though. So if you are sharing this 2-bed with someone, each of you will be paying 400, which you will be able to save more than someone who is in London. If you are in London and let's say you are doing customer service, someone who does the same job outside London, you will be earning more than them. So you will be taking, let's say, 28K a year, and someone outside London will be taking 22K a year. But at the end of the day, when you do the calculation and the deductions and everything, you would see that the person that is living outside London's disposable income is a bit higher than yours. I also know someone who lives in Scotland. When he first came to the UK, he was paying £300 for rent and utilities. What do you mean you are paying 300 for rent and utilities? Hey! So to survive outside London, you need to be earning this much. And to survive inside London, you need to be earning this much. I rest my case. If you are planning on moving to the UK anytime soon, or you know someone who is moving to the UK, please share with them, okay? I feel like this is information that they should know and prepare and get their finances right before they move, so that they will not come here and then they will be homeless. Because people are really suffering when they come and they see the reality of things. It's very, very sad and it's very, very bad. Some people even move back to wherever they came from because they didn't plan, they didn't know. I hope you guys found this video very helpful. Please leave your comments down below and I will answer them as much as I can. You can also check out the cost of moving into the UK here on the screen. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye.
Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time.